Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to In Conversation, our bi-weekly Instagram live series. My name is Yaka, I'm the producer of The Well. And today we're going to talk to Ben Schutz from Body Rhythm Hamburg. This is an interview that was supposed to happen last December, but we couldn't connect due to problems with Instagram and Meta. I wouldn't say that much has improved on that side, but here we are and hopefully talking to Ben very shortly. Just before we do so, as always, I also invite you to join as a member through our website. You can visit thewellvocal.com. We just launched a resources page, so you can go and check that right now. It's fully public, and there you're going to be able to find a collection of vocal improvisation albums, books, apps, video examples, and much, much, much more. So go and check out thewellvocal.com. And now let's see if Ben is able in Hamburg.
Hello.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, good to see you.
Welcome. It worked this time. I was
Yes,
saying ago that we were very ready to do this in December, have the conversation. The technical side said no, but here we are.
here we are.
Yeah.
That's good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, I'm really excited to talk about the Body Rhythm Festival. This year, it's 10th edition
Yeah.
happening in from the 6th to the 9th of June. Tickets are out, people can already book. So let's just start there. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the program this year, what you're really excited about, any highlights, what you're most looking forward about this year's festival.
Oh, yeah, it's really exciting. Actually, 10-year anniversary. Um, I feel it in the process because it's bubbling a lot and people are writing and the program is really full. Quite a few groups will be there participating on the stage, and to coordinate all that is a challenge every now and then, but I'm looking forward really a lot. It will be very special and also a bit bigger than usually. A few more participants and also more artists. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I know you just came back from a break, so I hope you
Yeah.
feel fully restored, because I know your office hours are really long, especially as you get closer to the festival and you hold a lot of the responsibility around the festival. Maybe just tell us a little bit more about the story, how it started, how the last 10 years were from you. I know it probably didn't look like it looks now at the beginning. So what's the origin story of the festival?
Well, yeah, 10 years ago, actually 2014 already, I started thinking about doing a festival because I had the opportunity to host Keith Terry in Hamburg. And actually in 2014, I just moved to Hamburg myself. So I just arrived in a new city and a second biggest city in Germany. So I was really excited to be here to use the opportunities and the chances of the city. And I just thought I'd do a festival. And with all my knowledge now, probably I would have thought it's not a good idea. And everyone told me that. Actually, quite a few people said, great, that sounds like a great idea. Everyone said like, wow, are you sure? And I didn't have a room, I didn't have a website, basically nothing. But I thought, I'm in a big city now, there must be a location, I can do it. And that's how it started. So I had Keith Terry and Charles Hassel, who is also quite known now in the vocal world because he's working with circle singing also. And I had Sarah Lazaki, who was 7 years touring with Storm. So very different artists, and just a small team at the beginning and a few guest artists. And that's how we started. With a lot of like positive thinking, some naivety, I would say. And you we wrote. I think we wrote the name tags ourselves by hand and things like that. So already 100 people showed up. So that was really good for the first edition. And and then never stopped since then. And basically now I'm thinking, I'm thinking 3 years parallel, because I'm still doing like finances and things from the past year. I'm obviously producing this year's edition, and I'm thinking of 26 also the same. So sometimes it's a bit funny in the mind.
It's always, yeah, but now it looks like you're a really old machine. The people that I've spoken to that went always say it's a really special event because they feel really held, supported. Everything is really organized. There's a real sense of community. So how would you say, how did that happen? Is that because of your personal approach, your facilitation approach, the community itself in Hamburg? What gives it its special charm and feel?
Yeah. Maybe I to describe that, I start a bit earlier. How I discovered body percussion or all this scene myself. I'm originally a drummer, percussionist. This is how I started with music, and I also did a bit of body percussion, like in schools with kids. And then I think it was around 2010 or a bit earlier, I listened to a CD from a group called Barbatux from Sao Paulo, Brazil. And I was really fascinated by all the sounds. They're using a lot of, I don't know if you can hear that through the mic, but all these mouth sounds and interesting things, not usually stomping and clapping. And they were singing and dancing also. So that was really fascinating for me. And so I started to investigate. And this is like, so my way into the body music, body percussion scene was through that approach, let's say, people playing rhythm, singing and dancing at the same time. So there was together for me from the beginning. And as a drummer, that was interesting for myself, because I was used to play rhythm, but I was sitting usually. And to use the space, to go into the space, to dance, to use the voice, that was that caught my attention. And so I started to check them out, and I went to my first IBMF, that's the International Body Music Festival, and they are traveling around the world with the festival. And in 2012, when I was there, it was in Istanbul. And this is where I discovered this scene, like that there is a scene of people doing that. It's not only myself and a few people I found on YouTube, but there are a lot of people around the world interested in exchange mainly, and doing a little bit, funny things. All these sounds and movement. There was like very playful mindset, and meeting people that were maybe singers, choir singers, gospel singers, I don't know, and the others flamenco dancers or tap dancers, or working in the circus and doing funny tricks with their hands, doing body percussion. And so I realized that was way out of my nerd drummer scene, where you talk about sticks and cymbals all the time, and what gig you had last night. But suddenly, wow, talking about so many different topics, and that was really like opening up everything for me. And my feeling was very quickly, I want to have that more in my life. And that was, I think, the force behind starting a festival, because the people are so interesting that are coming, participating, and very diverse, with different backgrounds. I mean, if you're a great tap dancer and you do body percussion, and you go to a beatbox class, maybe you are a beginner again. And because you were asking me about this feeling of a community, and I think this is because you're not entering the festival like as a on your pro level and you just go here, and the beginners are somewhere here and you never meet. But maybe you can do one thing really good and you go to the next class and you're just discovering it for the first time, maybe some sign languages with hands, or some VOPA, like vocal painting things happening there. And so I think also the facilitators, they go to each other's classes, and that's the main complaint I get, that they are like, they don't want to teach so much so they can see each other's classes, because everyone is interested in what's happening, and that keeps you also really humble, because you realize all the time that there's a lot that you cannot do, even you're really good maybe in one thing, and I think that by itself creates already a sense of community, and also that the people are really open and interested and playful usually, and some maybe they want to take something for them to work in schools, like what I also did in the past and what I still do, or like for pedagogical approaches, or they are singing in choirs and want to have some more rhythm skills or whatever. So the backgrounds are really different and the approaches are really different, and that just gives a really nice mix of people. And so yeah, I feel really blessed that so many people are interested every year to come. And I think this year it was maybe because the 10th anniversary is throwing its light, I don't know, but when we opened the ticket sales, it was like really quickly that we like in the first days we sold as many tickets as never before in such a short time. So even after 10 years, people are interested in what's happening there, and that makes me really happy, obviously.
Yes, brilliant. I think also so much has changed on the vocal improvisation scene, the body music scene in the 10 years. We can maybe return to that, but for now, just a little question about the structure itself of the festival. So I were mentioning this idea of exchange and the idea that people are really collaborating to each other in a playful way. I know you sometimes or always also create a little arrangement that all the facilitators sing in the closing concert. Maybe just give to the people that haven't been to the festival a little layout of, what kind of things happen during the day, how is it structured overall?
So right now, for the coming edition, we have 3.5 days, starting with the public circle singing event in a park, if the weather is good. Also to connect to the community of the city. It's a free public event. And then we're having an opening concert. Actually, every night there's a concert. And during the days we are having workshops. Next year we will have as many as never before. We will have 65 workshops. So quite a lot of workshops with different topics, and also a panel talk and time for jamming, for exchange. We are having an open stage where people, usually it's really interesting to see who is showing up, because obviously I don't know everyone who's coming, and we discovered quite a few talents there at the open stage, and some we invited for the next editions to come again to perform on the stage. As you said, I'm taking care that the artist team, the facilitators, they're becoming also a team, a good group before they enter the festival. So I'm writing a song, like a rhythm choreography with voice, and we are rehearsing for 2 days before we enter the festival. So we know each other after that a bit at least, and so we are entering as a group, and I think the participants, they can feel that it's not it's not individuals that come and want to show their best tricks, let's say like that. Even everyone is really great at what they are doing, but it's more about, can you have a good connection to the people in your workshops, on an eye level, that's really important for me. And I think that makes that creates that feeling that maybe some people are describing, and because that's what is most important for me as well. So I'm giving that energy. So some people say it feels a bit like a retreat, even it's a festival, a bigger event. And also we are meeting with everyone, like all the participants, all facilitators, that there will be around 200 people, maybe even a bit more, every day. So there is every day a chance to see each other and to make music with everyone. So each day there is at least one session with everyone together in a big room. And so it cannot happen that you start the festival and you meet someone and then you never meet again until the end of the festival. At least once a day, all the people will meet and make music together.
Brilliant. So then going back to this zooming out and the scene as it evolved over the last decade, how was it 10 years ago, 15 years ago? How is it now? What changes do you observe maybe in the scene in Hamburg, Germany, but then also the international one? And then we can chat about how it relates to vocal improvisation. But first, body music.
Yeah, it's growing, that's for sure, but not really like super fast. I think because it's still like to see body percussion as an art form is still a niche. Is that a word? I mean, many people use it for education in school or to practice rhythm or practice coordination. But to say this is an art form by itself, and maybe I'm practicing not only my rhythm and coordination skills, but also movement, maybe also the voice. Of course, that is just my approach. It's not everyone's approach on body percussion, but it's not like a super large group of people who are doing this. And there are more events happening. That's what I see. I think when I started 10 years ago, there was only the IBMF that I was talking about, the International Body Music Festival, and the Body Rhythm Festival in Hamburg, and not much more. And now that changed quite a bit, but it's not exploding. It's still a very small scene, and I would say almost everyone in Germany who is involved, I know them personally. It's not a super large group still. I don't know why, because I really love it, but you need to invest, I think, also a lot. I was thinking about that when I was talking this summer to Guillermo. I think I don't have to introduce him, who asked me, why are you not doing more like teacher trainings or advanced trainings? And I think I don't do it because I don't see so many advanced like people around that are interested. I don't get a lot of emails like, please do that. Yeah, it's still a small team, and there are just a few people around that I know that are doing this really for a living or professionally. Somehow I think you have in the vocal improv scene, there are a lot of people who can sing, which is great. And then you can train on improvisation. You don't have to teach them to sing first. But with body percussion, you have to start by, okay, how to clap, how to create a sound, how to listen to yourself, to your body. You have really to start from scratch. I think that it's a different starting point. I was just recently thinking about that. And when I realized how fast the vocal improv scene was growing in the past years, I'm really happy about that, to see that in France, especially Belgium, because there are already a lot of people around who can sing, or who are, if you go to a choir, you can find your way, or like public singing. There are these events like Everyone Can Sing, for example. You don't need to have a university degree to go there. So I think the starting is somehow easier, I don't know if I say something wrong, but if you want to go professional, there's the practice and the training just the same like everywhere else. But at least there is a much larger group who can start and enter there. And with body percussion, still I don't see that there's such a large group. So I don't know if that really answered your question, because 10 years ago I was not so deeply into the scene, so I don't know if I didn't see everyone around. But for me, it definitely it's growing, but it's not like super large still. Yeah, I would say
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
in the middle of the last 10 years, there was a pandemic and people started to connect in different
Mm,
ways. I think, yeah, it sometimes also is the same for a lot of vocal improvisers. They still have to start from the
mm,
beginning with people's
mm,
voices. And I think there's sometimes even a lot more at stake when you open up and use your voice in a completely free way. And there's maybe sometimes even more barriers in play than, when
mm,
you use your body. So it's just different starting points. But it also makes me think of the approaches that integrate both from the beginning, like Música do Círculo in Brazil, who of course is also related, to the Barbatuques and all the rest, who use body percussion and vocal improvisation from the beginning, as you said,
mm.
as was your point, which I think is really the best way to not treat them as separates, because they are, part of our bodies anyways. So how they can grow side by side, I think it's a really important part of this conversation. And it's also an important idea for the well to be really open to body, music communities, to body percussionists, to say, you're also welcome here. You might not have to use your voice all the time, or even if you don't
Right.
consider yourself, you're related to this practice and you probably use your voice anyways. So I think we have enough space to be open to all of those communities too. And have you seen, that approach now spreading also through Música do Círculo in a different way, where people are doing both things at the same time? Has that changed over the last years in Germany?
Yeah, people are doing actually the Musica do Circolo training. I did it myself. That's how I met Camille in France, um, uh, and that's how I started to, we we exchanged through Zoom at the time of the pandemic, both with a loop station, challenging each other. There was a funny, like a fun practice for both of us, I think. But yeah, people are doing the Musica do Circulo training. I went to Brazil many times. I think even maybe before they did the first retreat, and they did already like the Fritura Livre. It's like a free singing in the park, and there was like, of course, a big inspiration, and voice is a super important part there. So games, like connecting games, voice, and rhythm, I think, and sense of community. So
Yeah.
yeah, more and more people know that. Also because they started their online training during the pandemic, and now they're doing, I think, live practices in Europe, US, and Brazil, and so yeah, that is pushing the scene a lot. And also here in Hamburg now, there's Will came over from Brazil, and Annalena, and they're doing their like circle singing, Musica do Circolo meetings, and that they're reaching completely other people than me. There are people showing up that I never met, and they're also living in Hamburg, so that's really cool to reach more people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, all that movement from Brazil for sure is so super important. Fernando Barba was the big force behind that. I think we should mention him in this talk. He was the founder of Barbatuques, the group I mentioned earlier. He passed away a few years ago, actually just now in February. On second every first Sunday in February, they installed now the International Day of Body Music to remember him. And so yeah, I think I don't know how many times I went to Sao Paulo, but many times, and there is such a large scene there. I think maybe that's why it feels so small here also, because there are just so many great artists involved, and many like artistic groups and teaching groups, and that is really inspiring
Yeah.
still. Yeah,
Yeah, so you mentioned Into Sound, right, from Hamburg.
exactly.
We're gonna chat with them for one of the future Instagram lives, and also with Charles from the Barbetux. We're also gonna
Hmm.
to him and delve deeper into the story, and Zuza. So these are all kind of
Yeah.
in this year. Maybe just a question then about embodiment, because I think, when you go to Brazil, the culture of the use of the body, the freeness of the body is very different than in Europe,
Mm.
right? And in Western culture. So do you see that difference very clearly in Germany? I mean, sometimes people could say that, we see Germans as quite strict and rigid.
Mm.
Does that translate also to, the bodies, the people that you work with? Is there a massive difference? Like culturally, in terms of how people use their body freely in Germany, Brazil?
Mm.
What's your
Very interesting question. I don't know, because I'm obviously not very objective here in this question, because I'm involved with a lot of people who are involved with dancing and singing and everything. So I really don't know. And for sure, in Brazil, there is this culture of singing on the street. If you go to a concert, everyone knows all the lyrics of all the concert. They're singing like 2 hours. The whole audience is singing along. There's for sure very different than what I know from here. Only in Carnival season, people are singing along on the streets in Germany. Um, I was teaching in a university in Brazil, in Bahia, actually. The people didn't have much feeling of rhythm in there. It's not the Brazilians. I wouldn't say that. I think that would be yeah, a weird statement. But of course, people who have an approach, they can easily find access more easily, I think, there than here. Um, yeah, and also um, I think what helps, even it sounds silly, is the weather a little bit, because meetings in a park on a regular base, it would be just possible in a very short time, like very few months in Germany, and that they are doing this all year round in Sao Paulo. Just they don't need to worry about renting a room or some fixed costs. They can just meet on the street or like in the park. um, that opens up also a lot. I know that Annalena and Will, they did it in Hamburg as well.
Mhm.
They were in the park all the summer, and now they are in a room. You have to think about rent. You have to worry about how many people are coming. So suddenly it's a bit more exclusive than the park approach. Maybe that helps also. I don't know.
Maybe, I mean, the sun always helps, but
Yeah.
it's true also when I asked Zuza about this from Música do Círculo, he still says, of course, also we're the weird ones in Brazil. And it's not like this is
Yeah.
so common, that people just gather and improvise with their voice and body. We're still perceived as doing something, a little bit strange in the corner also in Brazil.
Mm.
So that's still, even if it's a different culture artistically. Let's then, to finish off, go back to the festival. Maybe you can mention some speakers, artists this year, and then maybe also say a little bit about your vision for the future years. How do you see, the project developing? What would be your dream vision to send out, over the next years? What would you want to happen with the
Mm.
festival?
You have so interesting questions, Yaka. So maybe I should write them down for me. It's inspirational.
Well, it is
So
recorded, so it's going to be posted and it's going to stay online. We
no,
know.
just for whenever I need some like inspiration source, I will ask you to write down some questions for me.
Yes,
So
always.
um, with the artist coming, I try to get a good blend of people who are more into voice, some are more into dance, into movement, some are more into like rhythm or more into games, educational things. Um, I don't know if I start, because then maybe I forget someone. That would be bad. But
Or you just
uh,
also can say the website address and people can go and check out. Of course, there's a Instagram profile, but also the website where.
there is an Instagram profile. There's also the website. Um, I'm happy that we got some new artists that are not yet there. So
Okay.
check it out in the next few weeks. Some more artists will come. Um, Well, we have, because I saw that he was at least in this chat for a while, James Rose coming this year for the first time. He is a vocal arranger from London. And when I was talking to him, I realized that all this like a cappella world, it's a, like a own universe. That's so interesting that I am thinking like, okay, he knows everyone else who's singing,
Mm-hmm.
but that is obviously wrong. Sorry. So they are also inside the vocal world, the vocal universe, so many different scenes and connected in some points, but still having their own life. So that's very interesting. So from the vocal point of view, there's James coming. There's also Meryl Martins there. She's doing VOPA, vocal painting. So this is like using sign language to improvise with the voice, doing compositions in the moment. And well, we have every year Charles Hassel here, because I started with him the year before the first festival. He came to Germany and I organized a little tour for him. And this is when I realized I like to organize also,
Mm-hmm.
at least also to organize for others, not to say like, hey, I'm coming, I'm great. That's another thing, but to say like, hey, there's someone else coming. He's really great, or she. So this is how we started. So Charles is there every year, bringing some Brazilian vibes with his approach from Barbatux, the group we mentioned earlier. And Sarah Lazaki, she's also there every year. She's living here in Hamburg. I'm working with her also in a duo since the beginning, since 10 years now. Wow, who else is coming? Esther Dieterm, she is doing a tacketina, another rhythm method, a known approach to rhythm, I would say. She's giving some impressions. And there is
Santiago Vasquez as well.
Yes, with Santi, I'm not sure if we can make it really. Actually, maybe this is now the first time that I say this in public, but it's quite challenging right now to organize a tour in Europe at this point of the year. So I don't want to forget someone. If I start now, I want to mention everyone.
I'll give you a moment. Just in the meantime, say that, yeah, of course, Santiago Vasquez also has his own method of signs.
Yeah.
And hopefully he can make it, or he can make it to a future edition, because a lot of people also practice that with instrumentalists and vocalists and bringing the whole thing together.
Santiago Vázquez, I met him in Buenos Aires. I traveled there quite a few times, and I studied with him there. He was already twice in Hamburg at the festival, so this would have been the third time. I'm not so sure yet. Stevao Marquez is coming. He was also for some time in the Barbatux. He's working with ORF pedagogy, and he's also great with games, really, really funny games and body percussion. Anna Jombart is coming again. She's from Barcelona, and she has been at the festival at previous editions, and she's also she's coming from tap dancing, and she has a very energetic way to energize a group. So that's really cool. And also I can say that Remy and Kellen are coming too, from the group Humanophones from France. So this is a bit a secret yet. So now it's not a secret anymore. But they are not announced on the website yet, but they are coming and also performing. So I'm looking forward. And they have their own approach. Maybe we should mention Humanophones, even we cannot mention everyone, but Humanophones, in one of the leading groups in Europe doing mixing voice and rhythm and movement together on a really, really high level. So yeah, I'm really excited to have them there, and also to see them perform. We have guest artists also coming, so yeah, it will be quite I think 6 guest artists will be there in total. A wide range, also some with more movement with sticks and balls and things like that. Because for me, that all goes together in the end. I'm teaching here in Hamburg in a drama school with actors, and I see them every week for 3 years. And I'm working with them also with sticks and everything. The topic I'm teaching is just called rhythm, so I can do what I want, which is great. And of course, I do a lot of improv in a circle with voice also. So they have a choir. I'm working on the voice with them as well to find a harmony and how to do that and how to improvise in a circle. So this comes all together. So I think I mentioned everyone.
And of course, people can always go to the Body Rhythm Hamburg website, see if there are any updates, and also book the last remaining tickets, even though there are some, open public events. So now the dream band for the next.
The dream for the next festivals. So I have always a lot of ideas, and the thing is that we are a very, very small team organizing that. Basically, it's Lenya, my partner in life and also in the organization, and me. So the 2 of us, and then a few more people helping us. So with all the ideas, it's only the question of how to make it happen. And I can imagine maybe to have it a bit longer in the future years. Also, we are constantly checking locations because the wonderful theater where we do the opening concert is quite small, and we are always pushing them a little bit to have even more people there, but it's already sold out. So this is a pity because many people who are coming to the festival, they cannot see the opening concert. So we are looking for larger venues and also connecting more with the city. Like we have a free public circle singing, but maybe even more spreading out into the city. That is an idea, to include some online events in the festival. It needs, of course, again, people to realize that in the end, to be really there, to have the technical knowledge and to deal with that. So a lot of ideas there. I don't want to spoil too much, but many more ideas, obviously. And also, we are trying to include also some panel talks and discussions to stimulate also other, let's say, to get a bit out of just rhythm and singing, but also stimulate the mind and some thoughts. Mm-hmm. So I hope we can realize a few of them this year, but also in the future years, talking to some people to make that happen. So
brilliant.
This is what I can say for now.
We're always restrained. You're not going to reveal the whole, mystery. People need to be there to see it. But also to say that we hope that we can repeat the social media takeover from last year in collaboration with the world, to hopefully doing it this year as well, so that people who cannot be there in person at least see moments, or maybe some parts of it could be live streamed, because it was beautiful to see all those interviews and concerts from last year. So we're hopefully doing that again this year. Mm-hmm. And of course, to also finish with a massive invite to the body music community to come and join the WOW, to join the conversation, to upload their events, because I think we're really part of the same musical family.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. And I'm really happy that this is more and more like becoming alive, let's say, like that, and especially you putting so much effort to connecting the scenes and to invite everyone and be really open. and I'm really, really like, yeah, big thanks to you also for doing all that, because I know it takes a lot of time and effort, even more than what you can see now with the talks that everyone can watch. So yeah, I feel the same. It's really wonderful for me to see the worlds growing together, and also there is some own life, let's say, in each of the scenes, and they can still inspire each other. And it's wonderful if there's some rhythm geeks and some vocal geeks, and they have their speciality, but they're also meeting and are open for each other. So that, yeah, that can only be a good thing.
Exactly. So Ben, thank you so much. Good luck with the last minute preparations before the festival this year. Hopefully I'll
Thank
be
you.
there to also see it in person. If people are not able to be there, they can also watch it through the web, through the takeover that we're going to announce in the future. And thank you for all of your work on bringing the people together. And I will see you online at some other point. Thank you.
Yeah,
Say
definitely. Yeah, thank you, Jaka.
all the
Yeah,
best.
best to you, and thanks for everyone for watching.
Thank you, Ben.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.